right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. This is marketing outside the box. This is some flexible creative thinking, giving you 3 practical strategies that will help you zig while everyone else kind of zags. And what's really cool about these, I had a question when I gave this live to the room yesterday. Really, like, what happens if everybody all is doing the same thing? Wouldn't everybody kind of zag together? But the cool thing about this is these are really transferable strategies, so that if everybody's adopting kind of the same thing, you still have the same skills and the same really flexible thinking, just to zag the other way if everybody's doing a zig. So whatever way it is, the goal of this is really differentiation. And what I mean by differentiation is the idea that you can stand out in your market, no matter how saturated it is, with all your competitors or collaborators or just people in your space who are doing the same thing as you. Go ahead and put a 1 in the chat if there's anybody in your space that is doing the same thing that you do. Better yet, put a 2 if you're a unicorn and you are doing something that you have absolutely no one else in your industry doing and you just have it made. Because I don't know why you're here, but I'm glad that you are. Yeah. No, most of us have people who are doing the same thing that we do. But I'm a believer that we can all exist in the same plane of market. There's room for everyone at the table because what you bring to the table is something unique. Your backstory is unique. The way that you do your philosophy, the way that you do things differently than other people is really what separates you once people start working with you and why they stick around in your world once they do. All we're doing is really trying to connect through our communication on the front lines what those things are, really just to bypass that whole process. Now, if you're taking time out of your day to watch this live or the recording, I know this to be true about you. You care about your business, you want to make it better, and you know that the people that you are really out here to serve, doing the thing that your business does, people are so much better on the other side of working with you. And so what we want is to really compress time. We know that once they're working with you, they know you are awesome. They know that they love working with you, that they gel with you, that it's such a good thing. All we're doing is really being able to compress time so that the people who don't yet know you, like you, trust you, understand the value of what you do, understand how much better their life could be on the other side of working with you, we're putting to frontline communication some ways to say, hey, out of everybody in this market that you could pick, here is why you should pick me. And that is going to help you stand out as the clear right choice for the right people. And that is what you want, right? Yes, that is why we're here. So that is what we're going to get into. The way that I do that, if you're completely new to me and completely new to Growco Lab, I'm going to take a quick explainer. This is all that I do. So Growco Lab is a messaging first creative agency. And what that really means to our clients is that before we ever talk about branding or web or media or the things that feel like rocket science, when it comes to actually showing up in your marketing efforts, we're going to get so clear on your positioning through a messaging first process. By positioning, it is the idea that you are taking up space in your specific corner of the market, bringing your specific and unique strengths to the forefront, your unique edge to the forefront, and that way we really create the most authentic presence so that people can really connect with you and understand the value that you bring, and then make it an easy yes to work with you. And I call that clear, seen, chosen through the 5 invisibility method, but that's not what this video is about. So we are going to be first going through what does it look like to zag. If this whole training today is, hey, how do you zig when everyone zags? I'm going to first show you what I would say if you maybe went to a traditional marketing seminar or you were asking like ChatGPT or Claude. These are some things that like you might hear, just traditional marketing advice. So I'm actually going to switch my whiteboard on real quick. Here we go. You're still with me. Yes? Nope. Try that again. Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. Okay. So before we talk about what to do, I'm just going to draw, we're going to call this our zag line, okay? So if this is what people are typically saying, I would say that I hear a lot of maybe, now you will hear like the antithesis of this advice where it's like, I'm going to say like, oh, like follow the trends. And you're going to hear lots of people on Instagram say like, don't follow the trends, be a trendsetter. But like, if we're really, really honest, what I see most people who don't have a strategy going into marketing or who aren't really clear on their messaging, you are still looking to the left and looking to the right and seeing what other people in your space are doing. So I'm going to call this trends. I'm going to call this competitors and industry peers. And listen, I have been here. I've got industry peers that I love and respect, that when I'm really not clear in like something that I'm really trying to accomplish, it's very easy. Maybe you're like in a little bit more of like an insecure or like just you're looking for some wins. It's really easy just to say like, well, what's working for them? How can I, now we can get inspired by others, but what I tend to see is like, can I adopt what they're doing and also basically just do it exactly what they're doing, because that's like, let's run the play, basically. And this is really how a lot of trends are. You'll see a lot of people right now talking even about like, these 10 hooks will get you results, or these, video styles will get you results. These are all strategies that are more tactical containers without a good messaging content. They're all going to not perform in the way that your competitors are. The other thing that can happen is if you're adopting things that are working for other people in their space, it may not be authentic to you. So I gave an example where if you're an apartment complex and you have a lot of students, but the one down the street has a lot of like young families, and you say, oh, you know what, the young families are having like the apartment down the street, they just had this big block party, they had like a bounce house come out, it was like a field day. Now actually this wasn't the exact example that I gave, but I am thinking some college kids could probably throw down in a bounce house. But the idea is like, you have to make it your own, because if you create this amazing space, because you run this thing that's like, they did this amazing block party, but they know that they've got people with young kids who need to get energy outside. You can be like, well, how can I make that type of event my own for who's really in my market? Better yet, it could be a third one in the mix who's really like almost retirees. That play is really not going to work for them, right? Like no one's going to come, everyone's going to come up and be like, this is not for me. That's not what you want. You want to have a presence that is authentic to you, so that when people do get into a conversation with you, from your marketing to your actual maybe like onboarding or intake or working with you, it is a cohesive experience. It is a congruent experience, so that there's not friction and like disconnect and dissonance. So without getting too in the weeds there. So one thing that you could do is you could look around, look to the right and look to the left and see what other people are doing. And we'll call this run the play. Okay. I'm going to go through each zag and then we're going to break out what to do for a zig. So that's number one. Then perhaps someone might just say, sell harder. Sell harder. I see this in a lot of really like sales heavy cultures. And I say this as someone who actually is very immersed in the world of sales. Deep respect, deep love for the game, deep passion about the good that sales can do in the world. What I mean by this is there's a misconception in what this means in a lot of marketing worlds, where sell harder just means we have to put more benefits into the package. We have to put more features into the package. We've got to talk more. We've got to like wow them with a presentation. We've got to like be able to put something on our marketing efforts that's going to be like, wow, look how awesome this is. It's got this and it's got this and it's got that. And it's like, you're really pushing for the idea that this is a no-brainer sell. The thing is there's so much noise right now that this will always be true. Like people will care more about what your work and your offer means for them than your credentials, than your features, than your benefits, than your discounts even. Like there's just like a lot that we can talk about sales psychology in here, that like some of the traditional ways that people are like, well, we'll just have to like run a harder sell. This is going to very quickly burn you out and be a lot of work for a win. There's a better way, and we're going to talk about what that is. And then get loud, where this is a little bit similar. I say get loud, just this is more from a like marketing volume. So let's run more ads. Let's run more print material. Let's run more social media posts. Like let's start a podcast. Let's start a YouTube. All of these containers are good. I have absolutely nothing against any of them. In fact, often some of those will work really, really well for your business, and they may be ones that you haven't quite tapped into. Like there's some businesses that are going to do exceptional on LinkedIn versus YouTube versus Instagram versus TikTok. And like the point of this is what I say is messaging is really a juice. When you have really good juice, you can actually put that juice into any container. And the container matters like less in the grand scheme of things, as long as the container is an appropriate container for the juice that is inside. So for messaging, that is the most concentrated essence of your business. It is all the good parts. We are squeezing all those things out and it is unique to you. Then we can find an appropriate container. The thing about getting loud is it is a hamster wheel of just trying things and throwing spaghetti on the wall, and you're spending money and you're seeing what money just burned up in the fire and seeing what money kind of shook some good things out, and you're getting data. Now that is the way that the old textbooks would say to do it. You just gotta like run the play, run the money, see what the data falls out, and then just keep trying. That is for many service-based businesses in the spaces that I serve. It is expensive, it is exhausting, it is confusing, and it is just not a sustainable way when there is a better way, and that is messaging first. But we're gonna talk specifically about the way to zig. Everyone says, have you just tried this new platform? Have you just tried putting out more emails? Have you just tried using AI to duplicate this one thing? And like, listen, these are all some strategies that you can work, but without clarity around your message, it is going to just amplify noise. It's kind of like this. So do you remember the radio? I do. Specifically, not like Sirius XM or anything, but like AM, FM channels, and you would turn on the radio and you could like almost hear your song. It was like had some interception from another station, had a little bit of static. You were trying to like kind of move it around a little bit, and but you could hear it just enough to be like, ooh, this is my song. You have two options here. So option one would be just cranking the volume on that stereo, cranking the volume, and you could probably hear your song. Probably. Would it be a pleasant listening experience? No. So cranking the volume so that the people that you are meant to serve can hear that little slice of their song in your overall volume is potentially a less enjoyable experience than this, which would be you take the little dial and you would just incrementally just and a little to the left, a little to the right, like 0.001 stations away, and then you would find it. And you'd be like, oh, it's coming in so much clearer now. I can still crank the volume, but I actually have more room to crank the volume now and still make it an enjoyable experience. Or I can actually just really enjoy my song without having to crank the volume as much. That is the goal of what we're doing here. So let me now talk to you about the alternative. I'm gonna draw actually the whole zig line, and then we will talk about what this looks like. Oh, thank you, assisted. Oh my goodness. There we go. Y'all following me here? I should make this one thicker. This is the way we really want to go. Okay. So, the alternative. Stop copying your industry. That's actually going to bother somebody, and I love you, so I'm going to add that YO in front of the URL. Stop copying your industry. This falls in two ways. I went into a little bit. But if you are copying your industry and it is not aligned with your authentic presence, with who you really are, it is going to feel dissonant, which means there's friction between what is inside and outside. There's a cognitive friction, there's a feeling, emotional friction. It is going to feel incredibly misaligned for you as a leader, and it's going to hold yourself back. It is also going to be very disillusioning for the people who work with you. It's almost catfishing, and I know you don't want that. What you can do is, of course, learn and adapt. But the other thing I want you to think about with flexible thinking here is look outside your industry. Instead of seeing what are people in my industry doing that is working for them and how can I emulate that, be so clear on the type of business that you're running, the values that you stand for, the things that you draw a line in the sand for. Be so clear on those things, who you're for, who you're not for, and then what you can do is begin to look at businesses who have some of the same core DNA and then run some of their plays. If you have to be inspired by external things just to experiment and try, I'm actually all for it. But what I see too often is people following the play of those who are in their industry and trying to get the business heart and soul to catch up or just to like force it into that box. My proposition to you with this would be know the essence of your business, know what I would say your edges. So I want you to think of it as, I'm actually not going to draw a statue of Dable here, but let's say this is a block of marble. This is a block of marble that will eventually be, oh gosh, I actually didn't draw this yesterday and we're not going to do that statue of David. The idea with this block of marble and the statue of David is that Michelangelo, when he looked at it, he actually never intended on carving David out of this marble. He looked at the marble and he chipped away everything that wasn't David until David was. In your business, one of the fastest ways to be able to see the essence of your business, the David that lies inside the core of your business, is to start knowing what you're not. This is one of the easiest on-ramps that I see businesses that I work with be able to start articulating, oh wait, no, that's actually not how I want to do things. Oh wait, no, that's actually not who I'm for. It's just an easier lift. So one thing that I want to give you to think about in this area is what absolutely burns up your biscuits about your industry. What burns your biscuits? What do you see people in your industry doing that you're like, this is why I do this differently in my business. This is why I stand for this. This is why I'm about this. This is, we're not doing that. And it's okay. This is always the point where if I'm working one-on-one with a client, someone will say, well, I don't want to talk bad about anybody. Listen, I'm not telling you to go on Reddit and like air out their laundry. All I'm telling you is know with clarity where your edges are, and it will start to form clarity about the type of business that you are about, that you do serve people for, like the types of people that you do serve. So these are parameters and edges that are going to help people get a clear picture of who your business is. And in that, you can do that all on your own, but if you need some help, what you can do is start to look for businesses actually outside your industry who share some core values, who share some culture that you want. I have a gym client that they look at the Savannah bananas all the time. That is like such a, I guess like, yes, there's like an athletic overlay there and there might be some overlap, but it's a completely different industry. It's a completely different business model. But when you start opening up your thinking, you're going to change some things about the way that you do your business because they now feel aligned, and you're going to get some new ideas from fresh streams of water that other people are not running in your industry. And it's going to help you stand out while also being super, super aligned with the actual true, genuine business that you are. So the next one, sell harder. We are going to, just making sure I didn't miss anything in my notes. Y'all still with me? Okay, cool. Okay. Perfect. All right. I could make this entire video about this. Tell better stories. Tell better stories. That seems so simple. That seems so simple. But here's the thing. This is a superpower, a ninja superpower. Let me tell you why. Storytelling in the brain fires a super cocktail of This is a cocktail glass. Should we do an umbrella? We should do an umbrella, right? Okay, sweet. Got some ice in there. Okay. In every single one of our brains, the moment we launch into a story, 3 chemicals fire in this perfectly mixed drink that you need in your marketing. Out of the most genuine and good place in your heart. It is like the closest thing we have, I think, to mind control. You ready? Dopamine. Cortisol. Anybody want to guess the last one? Oxytocin. This is a cocktail that your brain and my brain loves. More than that, this speaks to the most primitive parts of our brain that lock in on a story, because in some part of a survival part of our brain, it feels like life or death. Like, I have to know if this story is going to make my life better or is completely irrelevant to me. Is it going to keep me safe? And so this cocktail, dopamine, gets our brain's attention. Cortisol gets it arousal, so gets it excited, could be stressed. It makes it feel something a little bit urgent, makes it lean in. And then oxytocin brings connection, brings togetherness, brings a sense of belonging. Do you not, in your business, want to get the attention of those that you know you can make their lives better? Help them understand how important it is to know that the work that you are doing can make their lives better and that you're the right choice for them. And then also give them a sense of genuine connection and belonging, and just really like bring them into your world and build a good relationship. When you leverage stories in your marketing, people can be so loud in their presence. You cannot outpace, you cannot out-sell out ads, you cannot out-send cold emails, you cannot outdo the AI deployed phones and texts, for the love of all things, don't do that. And compete with the impact of a good story told well and leveraged intentionally in your marketing. How many of you go to networking events? Okay, yes, many of us go to networking events. How many of you at a networking event have been asked, what do you do? Put a 2 in the chat if you've never been asked, what do you do at a marketing event? Yeah, no, nobody. 1 in the chat if you have. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's like the number 1 question that you get asked at a networking event. Here's what I'll say to that. You should have the ability to articulate what you do in a way that produces that cocktail that we talked about that just like gets people very interested. There's a way to do that. And like, I don't really help with a traditional elevator pitch. I think many of them sound the same. I help X do Y so that they can Z. We have the formula for that. The formula is being used all over the place. The formula is dead, in my opinion. Instead, how can you inject the most interesting, relevant, and memorable pieces of your business into like your quote unquote elevator pitch, so that your business is actually remembered the next time somebody gets asked a couple of times around the room about the exchange of what do you do. There is a way to do that. There's also a way to pull a really fun card that I want to challenge you. If you take nothing away else from this, this is one tip that you can start deploying while you are at summer barbecues or church gatherings or networking, business trips, conferences, all of it. The next time that somebody asks what you do, especially if you blank for a second, like how to even like use words to come out of your mouth to explain what you do, the best thing to have in your pocket is like 1, 2, or 3, couple of stories that demonstrate what you do. Ninja mode would be already finding out what they do and finding a story that has just enough relevance to kind of like sprinkle in a little bit of more intrigue so they ask follow-up questions, but that's an advanced move. If not, just have 1, 2, or 3 stories. You can pick whatever day and then know how to explain them so that, hey, what do you do? This is my business. Can I tell you a quick story about what we do? Can I tell you a quick story about what we do? Can I tell you a quick story about what I mean? I spoke with someone yesterday who their business, I have never heard of it before, and I can't even remember exactly what she called it, but I remember the story. This is what I mean. Like, it was like the industry I didn't even know existed. It actually makes a lot of sense for why it matters, but I had to get a story in order to get there. Does that make sense? So the next time you're at a networking event, this is a marketing hack that you will be stickier and memorable, and people will probably ask you actual follow-up questions, and you'll probably have a much more fruitful conversation if you can just tell them a story about what you do, especially if you're in one of those more abstract kind of industries where it is a little complicated sometimes to share what you do. So let's move on. Okay, so getting loud. I'm gonna say create moments. We gotta keep speeding along. People talk about. Moments of connection, excitement, emotional, intense emotions. Like, if I think of some businesses that it's actually more of like emotional release. Sometimes there's tears, but it's like when you can create these moments that produce, hear me, this is important, produce the emotions on the other side that are aligned with the desired emotional shift that your business is delivering through what you do, will go so much further than trying to crank up the volume on all of the marketing containers. Let me say that again a little differently. When you know in your business the emotional state of where people are before they work with you, where they are after they work with you, and you are able to create moments that get people talking in a way that is complementary or directly like a little teaser of that, you will be compressing the amount of time it takes for someone to understand what you do and buy in with what you do. Now, these have to be right fit people, right? People who need it, but that's all you really want anyway, right? You don't want to bring a whole room full of people together if we never work together, I'm so happy that you can take whatever you can out of this training. So it's not always about just closing a sale. But I still believe that if you're here and you took time to be here and you've watched this far in, like, I have something to give you that's going to make your life better and your business better. Therefore, I'm giving it my all. You don't want to just fill a room of people that you can't really serve, is my point. So if you're filling a room and you have that room, and when I say room, sometimes it is field day, block party, appreciation meeting, conference. Sometimes it's moments that are smaller. And when I say room, it could be webinar. When I say room, it could be a reading challenge for the summer. When I say room, it could be the membership that you're doing, with I think one that I'm in just had like a huddle day. So it's like rooms change all the time. And some of those rooms can be very in person and very large. And some of them can be literally, 6 people in a Instagram DM group chat who are walking through a 30-day challenge together. So when I'm thinking about rooms, I'm really talking about moments. Another one is even like if you go to a lot of trade shows, a lot of the folks yesterday do trade shows. And so thinking about how not just to approach a trade show is how can I buy all the things and create this amazing display and get very, very loud. That is a strategy that can maybe get attention. But the ones that I see when we do like trade show experience design, whether they have that big budget or they don't, because some of them have the big budget and can do this, that is fine. But the linchpin is like, if you can create moments that get people talking. And the reason I bring the emotional valence thing is because we don't want to just create moments people, I can think of 2 businesses, I'm not going to out them right now, locally that they got people talking locally, but it may not have been for the right reasons. It's could be a quick flash in the pan, maybe got some eyeballs, maybe got some traction, but I'm like, I question how fruitful that is in moving people closer to them, right? So we don't just want to create moments that get people talking just for sake of the pop. This is the point about not just going viral to go viral, separate conversation. But when you can create moments, so I'm talking about rooms, but I'm also talking about the experience from a trade show booth to the experience of onboarding on your program, the experience of maybe you're running a series on your social media and you want to like really connect with people and you want to make them feel something and make them talk about something. An example yesterday was if you've got an apartment complex that is really close to the greenways, can you start to tell stories about people who've improved their mental health by going on walks at the greenways more in the mornings, and then use that as a way to create like Thursday morning walking club, where now you've got residents who are kind of like doing things together and connecting, and like just there's ways that you can create moments that get people talking. And when you do that, it creates a shared experience. And a shared experience, like this is a shared experience right now. Yesterday was a shared experience in the room. There's just like nothing really more powerful in helping like move people into your world and bridge their world to your world than immersing in a shared experience. And so you can create that on a micro level, you can create that on a macro level, but I think I'm out of time. So let's close it down. Okay, so to zoom out here. So there are two ways to approach marketing in the context of what we're talking about today. You can chase trends. You can look left and right. You can do what others are doing. You can run all the plays. You can list more features. You can add more benefits. You can run promos. You can make everything sexier. You can get really loud. You can spend more money on things just to see if they work. You can, post every day, twice a day, or hire somebody to do that. That feels really exhausting. And so I'm not saying to forego some of those containers, but what I am saying is there's a better way. And that better way is knowing what makes you different. Knowing what makes you memorable, and knowing what kind of world your business creates, and in getting people to get a taste of that in small and memorable ways, or big and memorable ways, right? The idea is that this is flexible thinking, where instead you can know your edges in your business and differentiate yourself so you can stand out. You can tell better stories that get attention and build trust and really help convey the emotions like that, the stakes, the payoff, all these things in your business. And then you can also create moments for people to engage and interact with your business that's going to be so much more fruitful than any kind of pouring gasoline on a lot of effort. And so this is what I want for you. Here's what I would say. So don't do all three at once, especially like through the summer. If you're watching this later, it's almost summer. But this is something that you can pick one of these three categories, and you can say, okay, how can I take some time and think about the edges of my business? What really makes me different? What about my background? I actually didn't even talk about this, but I think I should because I did make content on it. No, I can't. It's fine. You can go back and just look for the bangs on my Instagram. Anyways, know your brand essence and draw some parameters around who you are as a business. Tell better stories. Excavate some stories. Look for them. Keep your eyes open. Learn how to tell them in an impactful way. Know how to deploy them in an impactful way. And then creating moments. Can you create some moments through the summer? Can you create some conversation through the summer? Can you tell more of that story through different outside of the box channels and containers in your marketing? Okay. So here's what I will, let me start screen sharing real fast. All right, so here is one other thing. So for those of you who are watching this right now, this week, in the end of May, really, 2026, there is a specific thing that I want to tell you about that is completely different than anything I've really done before. This is like borrowing some pieces of the brand scope process, which is a signature messaging kind of excavation, distilling the core essence of your business, kind of what we talked about, but in a full, what I call messaging architecture. So this is really the foundation. It's like the blueprint for everything that gets built out in your business, every creative decision direction. It's kind of the like your entire genius really put on paper. And that's not what I'm here to talk to you about. I'm just giving the contrast, because some of y'all who do know me in my world know about the brand scope process, and I have several of you have conversations with me about like, that is something that I want, but you're kind of maybe in a different phase, a different season of life, or you need something just a little bit more touch and go. And so what's really cool about what I'm about to share with you is I think this is the thing that some of y'all might be looking for. So this is Calibration Station, baby. So the Calibration Station is not a brand scope. And what I mean by that is a brand scope is 90 minutes. It's intensive. It's a deep dive. It's like your time for 90 minutes, but then I do hours of like research and synthesizing and distilling, and like you get this positioning playbook that is like the thing. I don't like to say that it's your brand Bible, but someone did call it that. So it is the thing. This is not that. This is, hey, pull up for like 30, 40 minutes, about the amount of time of this, training. And we are going to get into your business. This is where like I would have spent this entire time just in chat examples. Like I love that stuff. And so I would instead love to one-on-one, just me, you, and your business, your zone of genius. This is pull up to the station for 30, 40 minutes, and we're going to calibrate your messaging, the most frontline pieces. So we're talking about, again, I don't really love calling it a traditional elevator pitch, but we are talking about the way that you can talk about your business in a way that better communicates the real like value of what you do and why people should care about it. Maybe a value anchoring story or two. Like if you need help knowing which ones to really connect to the value of your business and how to talk about them in like a networking setting or social media setting or your website, whatever. This is not just a client testimonial and like recycling it, but it's telling it in a narrative, compelling story way that makes people go, oh, I understand what you do, who you're for, and I actually need that. So story, like value anchoring story, a little bit of tone calibration. I've got like a little mix board idea for that. And then this is some deployable messaging examples. So that for you could be your bio, that could be rewriting your homepage hero on your website. That could be maybe if you tell me like a specific thing that you want, I'm being a little flexible with that. But really just the idea is this are your most frontline pieces of messaging, communicating who you are, what you do, why it counts. And we're just gonna calibrate that quickly, and then you're gonna get that back right after the session. So you can grab your spot for that. Here is the QR code. Oh, here is the QR code for that. So to get your messaging calibrated, these are super limited, and honestly, I don't even know if I'm gonna do them again. I just thought it is early kickoff to summer. You have to book a spot before June 1st. So the calendar is open until June 1st, and then I'm closing the calendar. But the days to book with me extend beyond June 1st. Does that make sense? So you have to book with me before June 1st, but the calendar is open beyond June 1st because I know people have vacations and all the things. But again, this is like pulling up, take less than an hour. Less than an hour for you to have messaging. My whole heart and game for this is so that you can immediately put it back into market so that you can make some ground up through the summer and like try some things on that maybe you've never said it that way before, and then be like, oh my gosh, this is really working better for the people that I really need. Or even just, it's not diagnostic. I don't know how much I need to really go into that further. I feel like I've kind of beat it, but I know I've done things before that are like, hey, let's sit together. Like, I don't love the term audit, but like diagnostic, like here's some things to change. This is not that. This is, we are calibrating it, getting you right back on track. So we are actually changing it together. We are workshopping it together. I've never done anything like this at this price point before. So I'm excited about it, but they are really limited. So book before June 1st. I'd love to have you. And thanks for spending your morning with me. And I hope that you were able to take one of these principles, and I wanna see you deploy it on your Instagram or your LinkedIn or I'm not on TikTok, so you'll have to just like send me a text if you do that, but or just wherever you live, get out there and apply what you've learned. So thanks so much. We're gonna shut it down. All right.